Good morning and welcome to the DFS Army YouTube channel. I am Razzle11 and you can find me on X at Razzle11Grinds. Going to take a look at pitching for today, the 27th of May. It is Tuesday. We do have an 11-game main slate ahead of us this evening. We don't really have much weather to worry about on the main slate. Potential weather in Kansas City. But aside from that, looks pretty clean across the board for the main slate. Baltimore on the early slate looks a little rough. As a reminder, this is a first look at pitching options on the slate, and I will be utilizing DraftKings as that is where a majority of my action is. If you do play in FanDuel, I'll cut my pool into a half or so. You don't have to be as creative. Pricing isn't quite as tight. It allows you to get the stacks you want with an upper tier-ish pitcher. Now, with all that said and done, let's just jump into this slate of pitching. My first look through, we have some strong spots, and then we have some spots where we kind of eliminate guys pretty quickly. For me, it seems like it's a pretty cut and dry pitching slate. First one in a while from a main slate perspective. First one that I really feel like we can just chop off. What do we got? 22 pitchers. Chop off 12 of them, roughly. Pretty easily without research. Maybe 10 of them. Couple question marks that I just don't think we get to. Minnesota, Tampa Bay. Obviously the best hitting environment, given that it's going to be in the 80s, slight wind out, etc. It's also one of the better pitching matchups overall. Joe Ryan, rough against Cleveland in his last start, but prior to that, been absolutely dominant. 22 plus in 6 of 7 starts. Can have a home run issue from time to time, but he's been so great. Overall, it's obviously not a great ballpark for him from a home run standpoint, but I think he's very, very interesting. That Cleveland one is actually, he pitched in relief from the suspended game, so I don't really, hold that performance against him just because it's just an odd situation. But Joe Ryan, minus 122 favorite, he's plus 125 to earn the W, which is about 5th best from the guys that I wrote down, so it should be 5th best on the slate, really. K-prop of 5.5, juice to the over. 4 guys with K-props better than that, so number 5 in that scenario as well. Firmly in the player pool, or pitcher pool for me on the slate. I know there's volatility to it. Taj Bradley, speaking of volatility, there's plenty of it here, but there's plenty to like from an upside standpoint as well. Home runs can be an issue for him as well. He has been better at home, which is kind of shocking given that this ballpark is played fairly offensively. His K-prop's at 5.5, juice to the under, plus 235 to earn the W, which is the highest of any of the guys that I wrote down prior to starting this. And I did write just 10 guys down. So he does have the highest win odds at plus 235. But I like the upside. Minnesota lineup can go pretty cold overall. I think Bradley's worth probably a 10 to 15% share on DraftKings. A lot of that depends on projected ownership, which we do not have this early in the morning. Tyler McGill was pretty strong against Boston in his last start. Surprised that they just couldn't let him go 5. I don't remember the scenario, but 10 Ks through 4 2/3, just 85 pitches. Felt like it probably was a spot they could have let him go to earn the W. He gets an out, gets the W. He's around 30 fantasy points. Second 10K performance on the season already. And we don't really think of McGill as a big K guy, but the Mets minus 270 favorites. 6.5 is his K prop. Juice to the under, which puts him at tied for 3rd, I believe, on this slate. Plus 155 during the W, which feels really, really low, given that he's minus 270 favorite. You know, to give you the idea, Ryan was plus 125 as a minus 122 favorite. But Miguel doesn't necessarily pitch very deep in games, as you see. Just one performance over 5 1/3 innings on the season. Obviously, we pick on the White Sox quite a bit, and we're going to continue to do so here. Cincinnati, Kansas City. Great environment for pitching. I believe the game total was 8, juice to the under, but I just didn't write down either of these guys. Could go with Brady Singer in kind of a revenge scenario after being traded to Cincinnati in the offseason. Not coming in the greatest form. Walks are there, strikeouts are down. Started out the season really strong, but kind of faded down to earth. And Kansas City doesn't strike out all that much. So despite it being a pretty good pitching environment, I just don't think we can get there. Daniel Lynch, soft spot in my heart, was on my 50K winner, but has been pitching out of the bullpen. So I just don't think we are going to get much out of him. Plus, I mean, he did only throw a third of an inning, but 21 pitches just a couple days ago. We're going to have to pay attention to see if Kansas City names a bulk reliever in that scenario. Boston, Milwaukee. Two offenses that I have been picking on with pitching recently. We just have two pitchers that I just don't think we can go to. Savali doesn't have a ton of Ks. Now, he does get an increase in K upside against Boston, but still, not somebody I want to put a lot of money into. Cooper Criswell expected to be the starter. I'm just not sure if he will be or not. But with that said, he's just not anybody I want to rely on either. Made 3 appearances at the major league level this year. 0 strikeouts so far. Probably going to be a game that we want to target for bats. Cubs, Rockies. Cade Horton, big-time prospect. Coming off of his, I think it would be his best start-ish at the major league level. Not from a fantasy point perspective, but that's because he also didn't get the W. But taking on the Rockies, who we just keep picking on. K-prop of 5.5, juice to the over. So same kind of prop as Joe Ryan. Plus 100 to earn the W, which is very, very nice to see. Game total 7.5, juice to the under in Wrigley because we do have wind blowing in. The Cubs are minus 345 favorites. We got wind blowing in from right field. Not howling in by any means, 11 miles an hour, but mid-60s. I would guess that the temperature probably drops a little bit, and with that wind, probably going to feel in the upper 50s. Decent spot for Cade Horton to have his best start of his young major league career. There is some K ability in his arm, and I hope we get to see it this evening because I am going to be on Cade Horton. Toronto, Texas. I did look at some BVP last night before I went to bed. Evaldi has been hit by some of the Toronto bats. But with that said, he's been so phenomenal so far. 1 earned run or less allowed in 6 straight starts. 2 earned or less in every start but 1. So 10 starts so far. He's just super steady. So he's somebody that we just want to use. His K-prop's 5.5, juice to the under. So same as Taj Bradley. But plus 130 to earn the W, which is right around the Joe Ryan number. Texas minus 155 favorite. Things just line up for Evaldi. Price tag's a little aggressive. Toronto not a huge K squad, but like I said, Evaldi's just been so steady all season that I'm gladly going to rely on him this evening. Hunter Brown taking on a dangerous Athletics lineup. Now, with that said, Hunter Brown has been phenomenal aside from his last start in Tampa Bay. I want to consider that more of an outlier just because he has been so dominant so far this season. Not sure what his history is against the A's, but his numbers at home have been phenomenal. just 3 starts worth so far, but still, it's been absolutely ridiculous. His K-prop's at 6.5, basically a pick'em, which is the second best K-prop on the slate. He's a minus 115 favorite to earn the W. So he's minus 115, which is the best number on the slate. The Astros are minus 218 favorites. And game total of 8. Just going to always play Hunter Brown at this point. Yankees, Angels, interested in Carlos Rodon. As we know, the Angels strike out a ton. So we're always going to try to attack those K numbers. Rodon's K numbers take a jump when he's on the road. His walks actually go down as well. Does give up more hits, but just a guy that we are going to utilize in the spot all the time. K-prop is 7.5 juice to the under, which is the number 1 K-prop on the slate. He's minus 105 to earn the W, which is tied with Corbin Burns behind Hunter Brown at minus 115. For the best number, not from a betting standpoint, but just from the pure likelihood to earn the W. Tyler Anderson, just not going to do it. Sorry. He could come out and do something like these 2 starts. I would be shocked just because it is the Yankees, but still, just not going to get there. Pitt, Arizona. Obviously, we've been picking on Pittsburgh a ton with pitching. I know they've scored a few more runs recently, but they still might be at the bottom of baseball in total runs scored. Corbin Burns. Great spot for Corbin. 18 strikeouts over his last 2 starts. Looked pretty strong. Two of his last 3 starts have come against the Dodgers. 3 out of his last 4 against the Dodgers and the Mets. So he's been facing a tough stretch and performing. K-prop at 6.5 juice to the under. Like I mentioned with Rodon, Burns is minus 105 to earn the W, while the D-backs are minus 265 favorites. Corbin Burns at 9,300, I feel like is going to be fairly popular. Miami, San Diego. 2 guys that I wrote down here. Not sure they meet the rest of the group that I plan on utilizing, but they're 2 names that are intriguing. I might just use one of them. Might use neither. Haven't really finalized anything by any means, but Steven Kolek, rough start in his only home start. Coming off of a rougher start as well. He actually looked good for stretches in that Toronto game. But he's had a couple phenomenal starts already, so I think he's worth considering because it is Miami. The 2 weak offenses that he did face off against, he absolutely dominated. His K-prop's 4.5, juice to the under, but he's plus 165 to earn the W. Game total of just 8 with juice on the under on this game, so Kolek seems like he should be in play for us. Max Meyer, a guy that's capable of doing great things. Obviously, shut down a tough Cubs offense. Didn't rack up strikeouts, but he's certainly capable. Obviously, had that elite performance against the Reds. Dominated a Mets squad earlier this season that obviously we've been using bats for quite a bit. I think there's upside with Meyer. His K-prop's just 4.5 as a pick'em. Plus 205 to earn the W, which is better than Taj Bradley. So I do think Meyer potentially is worth a sprinkle, but he also may not make my pool either. Kind of trying to get it down to 8 guys. If I do, I think that removes maybe Taj Bradley and Max Meyer, or just both pitchers in this game. But I do like to pick on Miami enough. And the last game, I don't really have any interest in either pitcher. So there we have it. There's our first look at pitching. If you enjoy what I bring to you, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn the notification bell on. Get the alert anytime we drop videos here at DFS Army. If you want to join us, get access to our coaches, tools, sheets, Discord, etc. I will put links in the description below. You can use promo code RAZ, that's R-A-Z, for 10% off monthly. And as always, best of luck, everybody.